So, but you commented on black murder, which I don't believe black on black crime is a thing. Do you believe it's a thing?
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Charleston White commenting on black crime. And he was dropping a lot of facts in this clip. Now, before I get into it, I just kind of want to back up a little bit. I've been speaking about this for a long time, even before I was conservative. I'm talking about like 2006, 2007, for a long time. I know the numbers. I know the stats. I have evidence to back myself up. So I'm not just going to spout stuff. I'm going to cite statistics. I'm going to link to it in the box. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know if you don't believe in the issue of black on black crime. I'm going to address proximity. I'm going to address poverty. I'm going to address all of that. Now, before we get into it, shout out to Jason Lee of Hollywood Unlocked for having Charleston White in the building and talking about this issue. Jason Lee obviously does not believe in the black on black crime. And for context, because I'm trying to hate on him, but he is biracial, black and white, a little bit of context. We're going to get into the whole thing here. We're going to get into what he said, what Charleston White said. Then we're going to get into the facts with figures to back it up. And of course, as I said, I'm going to link to everything in the box. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
So, but you commented on black murder, which I don't believe black on black crime is a thing. Do you believe it's a thing?
Yeah.
Why do you believe black on black? Because some would say it's all based on proximity.
Pause before he even responds. Proximity is what I always hear. Oh, it's not about black on black. It's about proximity because blacks kill blacks and whites kill whites and Asians kill Asians. It's about you being close to somebody that you know, all this, that, and the third. Now, what I'm going to do in a little bit is disprove that whole narrative. It's not about proximity, because if it was, then what I'm going to show you, these numbers wouldn't exist. But I digress.
Show me where the Jews killing each other. Show me where the Asians going to jail for murder. And they got Asian gangs. Mm-hmm. Show me where there's a big population of Asians in California. There are Asian Crips, Asian Bloods, Asian gang. Show me where a big population of Asians in jail. Mm-hmm. You can't. Show me a big population of white people killing white people. You can't. But this is a country of guns.
Well, only when they go in school and shoot up kids and say it's not terrorism.
But
now you're about to get into something right here. This is going to be really good.
But they classify that as a mass shooting. Mm-hmm. They classify ours as gun violence, but it's mass shooting because mass people are being shot in one instance.
A mass shooting is defined as 3 or more people being shot at once in one place. Not shot and deleted, but just shot. That is considered a mass shooting. It might be 3 or 4. If I'm wrong, God let me know. But at least 3, maybe 4 shot at once. We see that all the time. People getting shot at clubs and outside in the hood. I just saw something. It might have been in Ohio. It was a shooting of 20 people got shot like in one area. But those do not make the news. Who cares about that, right? Just regular. Oh, that's like kind of cast away as hood violence, black stuff. Nobody cares. If it's a school that gets shot up, then all of a sudden it matters. But just in the neighborhood, same kids, same age, not really a big deal.
But they don't classify ours as mass shooting.
Well, where do you think that comes from, though? Because, again, I'm not one to say everything goes back to white people, but lack of investing
it comes back to us because they see we don't care. If we cared the same about black people shooting black people that we did police shootings, then they would respond to black shootings the way they do police shootings.
Facts. We don't really care about that. To us, it's just regular. And then if you bring it up, then all of a sudden you're some type of race traitor for bringing up just like the whole black on black. Like, we don't even want to acknowledge that it exists. Not all of us, but some of us, like Jason Lee, won't even want to acknowledge the existence of the problem. So why would you even respond to it in the same way that you do a school shooting or a George Floyd or something like that? We admit that school shootings happen, and that's a problem. We say that there's an issue with police on black violence, which is not really a thing. Not really. I'm not saying it never happens, but it's not really an issue. The bigger issue is the black on black, but we don't want to acknowledge that. Not in massive numbers as we should.
They try to give us resources and they try to find alternative solutions after a police shooting occurred. They literally put everything on hold. Come on, we got to hear from our blacks. But that's only during a police shooting. Then we act like nothing else bothers us but police shootings. Only thing that bothers black people in America is a white police officer killing a black person.
Facts. Big facts. That is a fact. Not all, but the majority of us, that's the only thing we really care about.
Other than that, nothing bothers us because we don't cry, we don't complain, we don't march, we don't ride, and we don't tear up until that happens. So why would anybody care about that? They don't.
Facts. Very well said from Charleston White. Now, we're going to get into some numbers. Oh, yeah. We got some numbers. Now, some may not agree. They may say, oh, ABL, you're just making up stuff, all this, that, and the third. I got some numbers. Now, going back to the whole thing about proximity, we are about 13% of the population in this country as black Americans, 13%. Yet we account for very large numbers of not only homicide victims, but also the murderers and the murder victims. So if you say that crime is about who you're close to and you agree with that, then how are we 13% of the population, but 53.7% of all the murder victims? If it was strictly about proximity and that's it, you would have 13% of the population and roughly they're about 13% of the murder victims. That'd be what makes sense if everything was proportionate with your population, if it's about proximity. But obviously that's not the case. Okay, look, here we go right here. I'm just Google searching black percentage of homicide victims. And if this is what AI picked up, but it's from Wikipedia, and I'm going to back this up with an actual piece of data from the government. In 2019, 53.7% of homicide victims in the U.S. were black or African American, excluding those with unknown races. This compares to 41.6% of white, 3% of other races, and 1.7% of unknown races. And that percentage of white also includes Hispanic. Hispanic, non-white are about 20% of the population. White non-Hispanic are about 59.5, like right around 60%. So a little bit less than 60. Hispanics are much more than us. And that wasn't the case 20, 30 years ago. I'll tell you why our numbers are low like that in a minute. Y'all just hang tight. Here's more. Blacks are also more likely to be arrested for murder, with 51.2% of murder arrests in 2024 being black. Now that makes sense. 51.2% of murder arrests, 53.7% of homicide victims. If it's about proximity and people who you know and you're close to are going to be the one that delete you, doesn't that make sense? But it does not make sense if it's only about proximity when we're only about 13% of the population. These numbers are wildly out of proportion. All right, let's keep on going. However, the per capita offending rate for African Americans is roughly 8 times higher than that of whites, and their victim rates are similar. Okay, homicide rate among black victims in the United States was 20.44 per 100,000. So there's a lot here. Let's get to some actual numbers. All right, and then the population percentage. So the AI says we're 14.4% of the population. And that's 47.9 million people. And the country is probably about 325 million. If you put illegal aliens and whatnot in the mix, probably about 350 million. All right. Now, that's that number right there. But there's another number that says we're 12.1% in 2021. Okay. In 2022, 14.4. So I think if you're talking about just straight black and not Hispanic and not people that identify as whatever, okay, you're talking about 13%, right in the middle. The highest we are is 14.4. The lowest is 12.1. Even if it is 14.4, that's much lower than the 54, 55, or whatever percent we are of homicide victims and the murderers. All right, now here is an FBI chart. And again, I linked everything in the box. Okay, look at this, murder victims. This is 2019. All right, and let's just go over here to race. And you see white, 41.6, and then black or African American, 53.7 is right there. I'll zoom in for you guys. if I can. They might not let me zoom in all the way. They're not giving me the bottom scroll piece. But you see what's going on right here. Okay. You see what's going on. And again, that white part also includes Hispanic or Latino, as you see over there. All right. So that's what's going on. Now, do we have more? Yes, we do. So 2019, 70% of murder victims are male. 54.7% are Black or African American, 42.3% white, 3.1% of other races. So if it's only about proximity, if it's only about who you're close to, then why are our numbers so high and out of proportion? What's going on? Obviously, there's a problem in the community that we got to address. And as Charleston White said, and as Jason Lee, in my opinion, proved, many of us don't want to even acknowledge it. We don't want to talk about that. So why would we classify these mass shootings in the hood that happen all the time as mass shootings? Why? For what? All it's going to do is just create problems. We'll talk about the police things, the lowest hanging fruit possible. We'll talk about that as a problem, although it's not really an issue. But as I close, I want to say this. The numbers don't lie. Like you say, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. It's right there, right in front of your face in black and white. How can we really combat that? It is what it is. Oh, and before I close, one more piece. Why are we so low in population? Well, when you have a very high homicide rate to the point where you're 13% of the population and over half of all the murder victims, and a lot of the victims are 15, 16, 17 kids. If you delete the kids of the community before they can grow up and become adults and have kids of their own, how are you going to continue population growth? You also have a very high abortion rate, very high baby deletion, highest in the country per capita in the black community. And then you also have a lack of immigration. Okay, Hispanics are able to grow their numbers from massive immigration from Mexico and other parts of Central America, South America. They're able to grow their population that way. Whites, they get a lot of Europeans, from Eastern Europe, Western Europe, all over the place. Other parts of South America, Hispanics that identify as white, they can bolster up the white numbers. But where do we get our immigration from? What, Haiti? Some Africans? It's not as many as other races of people. Therefore, we're going to be low in population numbers. And it's just that simple. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion on what I'm talking about here as far as these numbers and what Charleston White said? You think I'm making up stuff? Am I some type of sellout or some kind of other racial slur that I get caught by black folks who think that I'm the racist? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I mean, it's just reality. And at a certain point, it is what it is. We could talk about what whites do. Oh, well, they got high numbers of touching kids. Okay, that's fine. But what about this? Focus on what we got to focus on rather than deflecting and rather than refusing to admit the reality of what's happening. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.